All right, so it's January and you won't see this video until April. This is Easton's 2024 race machine. It's a 2020 TC50 with 15 hours on it. I wanted to buy a 24 factory edition KTM. Reading a lot of bad stuff about the cylinders possibly on the 24s being junk, and they're $7,100 out the door. Found this one for 32. Like I said, with 15 hours on it, it's like new. Pretty common with these Austrian 50s. People buy them and their kids don't like them, or they're afraid of the power, or they don't realize what they're buying when they buy them. But yeah, either way, it'll be great for Easton for 2024. He is AMA 6 this year, so I got to put a 10-inch front wheel on it. The reason I went with this bike, one series we do TNT, he's technically 7 for that series because it's off of how old you are the first race, and he will be 7 by then. So even though he's AMA 6, he's 7 for that race. So the Mini's going to be a little underpowered, plus give him a little more suspension, a little more power. So I have a PAX 10-inch hoop coming for that front rim, and spokes and nipples. So I have to build that wheel out, plus Dunlop MX33s, because I think that's the best tire out there, at least for our conditions most of the time. I really like that tire. So his Mini has Starcross 5s, Michelin's on it. They've been great also, but since I had to buy a 10-inch front, I figured I'd just match the rear and go MX33 rear, MX34 front. But that stuff's on the way. I also ordered, the only thing that makes these a factory edition is an FMF pipe and graphics. So I ordered an FMF pipe for it. So this is gonna be the before sound, the stock exhaust, 15 hours, so the packing's not blown out or anything. And then throw the FMF on it and show you an after. Smoke up my garage. So AOMC actually had these 2016 factory FMF, Husky FMF pipes on sale for $120 for a brand new head pipe, FMF head pipe. Can't beat it. So that, and I found a silencer on eBay for $75. It's actually the Power Core 2. The new ones are 4s. So it's a little smaller, which I actually like. It should bark a little louder, and I might actually shorten it up. I don't know, once I get it on there and see. But I'm actually gonna polish it. It doesn't look terrible, but I think it would look cooler polished. So I'm gonna take it apart. Something sounds wonky in there, so we'll take it apart, repack it, polish it, and possibly shorten it. I haven't decided yet. Well, I already packaged it back up, but unfortunately that silencer I found on eBay was too good to be true. It's for the generation before this, so not even for a Husky, but a KTM. The 50 is like 16 or 17 and older. So I set up the return for that, but while I'm in here, again, this thing has 15 hours. It doesn't sound like the kid that wrote it ever wound it out. So it looks like it was just loading up like crazy. Maybe it needs jetted correctly, because that's disgusting for 15 hours. And it truly does have 15 hours. 15.2 hours, so. I don't know, he said he never washed it because it never needed washed. I can kind of agree with that. Like, it's not really dirty, but it's kind of dirty. So I also have to get that rear shock out of there because I'm sending it out to Pro Action to get it shortened. So we'll work on that while we're here. So at least the head pipe's on there. I actually was able to find on AOMC a Husky factory edition FMF pipe. So that's cool that it has the Husky logo and the FMF logo on it. Pretty cool. Should look good. This thing's just covered in oil. That head pipe's full, the silencer's full. I just don't think it was ever jetted correctly. I'm gonna jet it, obviously, so I have jets coming. So now I'm gonna pull that rear shock off there and the front wheel. And I might as well pull the rear wheel off too because I have a tire coming for that. Parts are starting to roll in for the Husky TC50. Nihilo 10mm bar risers. The only reason I did the bar risers, I run them on his KTM. See him in there. But I did them on, I have this covered in case he pokes his head out here. But I did them on the Husky, just so that I can move the bars up. That gives me that much more room to move the fork tubes up, or fork legs up in the triples. But anyway, bar risers, case saver, and the guard. It always makes me nervous. The factory one's plastic and it covers the sprocket pretty well, front sprocket. So I didn't want to just run the case saver in case he crashes, gets his fingers in it. So I got the guard. Nihilo grip tape, frame grip tape. I got it on the Mini, it's good stuff. Another necessity for the Austrian 50s, the rad cap. This one's, I forget what the spec is, but this one's 2.2 bar and the factory one's like 1.6 or something. Anyway, this will take a little more pressure, so before it pops off and starts pushing out your coolant, it'll allow it to hold your coolant a little longer. And then the Cherubi's mountain bike handguards, they fit really well on the Mini, so we're gonna run them on the Husky, but obviously I don't think we need them. Not a big fan of handguards, but he loves them, so we'll keep them. A 10-inch front rim from PAX. It's not a PAX rim, it says Fab on it. I also ordered spokes and air filters off them. They sent me PW50 air filters, which is a bummer, and the spokes are way too short. So I don't know what the heck they sent me, but so I'm gonna have to send those back and wait for the right spokes, which stinks. And then some jets. I know I'm gonna have to play with the jetting a little bit. So I got some jets and MX34 Dunlop's front and rear because, I don't know, I run them on everything. I really like the Dunlop MX33 and 34. So soft compound, I'd rather they wear out and bite good. But actually, I like the 33 over the 34, but I don't think you can get a 33 anymore. This is a 33. I think, yeah, that's a 33. On my TTR that I'm building, the KLX has a 33 on it. It does really well. His Mini has Starcross 5s on it. And he's liked them, but I don't know that he really knows. They come factory with, I think, Maxxis on them. I just don't like the little knobs. So we're going with Dunlop. So yeah, we're part of the way there. I can't really do anything yet until I get spokes. But I guess I can bolt this stuff on. So yeah, we'll start on this little project tonight. Get moving on it. I'd like to get it to the point where it's done, minus graphics, so I can move it down to my basement and hide it so I don't have to put a sheet on it in the garage. All right, so these are Cherubi's handguards. Apparently these stock Austrian bike bars, Husky KTM, are a little shorter. They don't have as much room past the radius of this bend. So I had to heat that mount. I don't know if you're really gonna be able to tell. I heated this mount with a heat gun and bent it so that they'll sit on there straight. It's only an issue on this side. On this side I have some room. I mean, on these Pro Taper Micros, there's tons of room past it. So it was like zero issue to put them on. But I mean, these are strictly for looks. So they'll be just fine. All right, so everything I got so far from the helo is on. The higher pressure radiator cap, the case saver, and the guard. I don't know, I mean, obviously the guard, with the guard on there, this thing's gonna hold dirt and grass and crap. But without the guard on there, I did this on the Mini. I had constant fear of, because I've watched my kid wreck, and his hands end up God knows where, and I would feel awful if his hand ended up in that sprocket. So I want him to make it to adulthood with 10 fingers, so we went with the guard. I know it's gonna be harder to clean, but it looks good too. The Nihilo grip tape on both sides. Looks good. What else? Oh, got the Cherubi's handguards on. I ended up having to heat both of these brackets and bend them just so that they matched each side. They look good. Put 10mm bar risers on there. Again, not because I think we need the bar risers because he has short arms, but that gains me literally an inch that I can move these forks up in the clamps. I don't know if the tube is tapered shorter, or well, right to do that, but I think I'm tapered, yeah, to here. So I can move them up at least 3/4 of an inch, I would say, before we run into trouble. Somebody put these WP stickers on crooked as heck, so I'm gonna have to razor blade that, move them up that far, but move the front end up. Between that and going from the 12 to the 10-inch front wheel, and I'm having that rear shock lowered by Pro Action. Should be short enough to give him some confidence. A little taller than the Mini, but not crazy. I hate this gas cap, but it was on it. Again, this bike had 15 hours when I bought it. And this gas cap, this Tusk gas cap, I don't hate that it's a billet gas cap. I hate that it's orange, doesn't match anything. And it screwed the threads all up. So now only that cap will go on. The stock Cherubi's one will not. So I have to stick with it. I might see if I can get a white one or a blue one or something, even black. But yeah, so far everything I got's on it. I continue to do some cleaning. Still waiting on, PAX sent me the wheel. It's dusty, it looks like it's been in their warehouse a minute. The wheel and the spoke kit. The spoke kit's wrong. They also sent me air filters that are wrong, so that stinks. But such is life when you're building bikes, I guess. Even something as simple and new as just bolt-ons for a TC50. I mean, the TTR build was everything. Nothing fit. I cut the head tube off and changed the steering angle to match a YZ85. It's YZ85 triples. We did a bunch of this thing, but point is, excuse me, man, hiccups. Even just these bolt-ons that come from, good brands still have issues, so we're working at it. Again, this is January, but this is again why his birthday's not till April. This is why I start on these projects early, because I don't want to be in March and I can't get spokes. So my goal was to have this thing done within, before February is over, so I can get it hidden away in the basement. Because out here in the garage, it sucks. I gotta keep a sheet on it in case he comes out. I mean, obviously, though it's still a mini bike under a sheet, he's gonna be able to tell he's not stupid. But he sees a ton of bikes come and go because I'm always working on somebody's stuff. So I could fib to him pretty easily that it's not his bike, but I don't want him to see it. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm not gonna make a video until this whole thing's done. So yeah, I guess I don't really need to thank you now. Silencer finally came in for the Husky. FMF Power Core 2. So we're gonna throw that on. You have to take the stock bushing and washers out. and this thing's hard from being cold in the garage. So I'm gonna heat it up with a heat gun, get it popped in there, and throw this exhaust on. All right, so we gotta keep in mind that this thing, I bought it off a guy, bought it for his kid that was afraid of it, didn't like it. So it's sat. It's a 2020, it has 15 hours on it. So it's sat, so it doesn't rev out. I gotta pull the carb off the jet for this pipe anyway, but FMF pipe's done, head pipe, silencer. Sounds a lot crispier than that factory pipe. Example of why I tell my kid, never give up even if he crashes during a race. Because there's dads out there that think it's okay to put slime or some sort of tire sealant that obviously wasn't doing anything, still in liquid form, in the front tire of a bike. This bike had 15 hours on it. I can't believe in 15 hours the lack of maintenance it got. The gas tank was falling off it. It's leaking oil bad out the exhaust, which that just means it's a rich, mixture, and or the kid never wound it out, which is fine either way. But it just, I guess, lesson learned. 15 hours off someone doesn't necessarily mean good condition or treated correctly. And maybe it wasn't his fault. Who knows? Maybe I didn't get the whole story, but maybe I did to the best of his knowledge. Maybe he didn't even know that was in there. But at any rate, glad I'm breaking down these wheels and tires. If you buy a bike used for your kid and you're gonna race it, put some effort into it before you send him out on the track. All right, so this is the second set of spokes and nipples that PAX has sent me, and they're wrong. The angle of these fronts isn't quite 90. These ones, there's 14 at 90 and 14 at even less than 90. They're not gonna work. I don't know what the heck they're sending me. But unfortunately, it looks like I'm gonna have to go through KTM to get the correct spokes, which is a real bummer. But I guess such is life. So as you can see, I moved into the basement because I have graphics to put on and it's cold and I just can't get my garage warm enough to where I'm comfortable doing graphics. So I'm gonna do them down here. MX Graphics, out of Slippery Rock PA, did the graphics. Came out exactly how I'd hoped. finally back on the Husky 50. Still fighting to get the right spokes. PAX has now sent me 1, 2, 3. It's the 4th set of spokes. And according to Buchanan's, where he gets these spokes, these are 10-inch rear spokes for the KTM, but they're actually the correct ones for the front. You look at the hub, or the way that the spoke, the angle is, or the flange that comes through the hub, it's finally correct. So if you're ordering spokes from PAX for a KTM, you want 10-inch fronts, order rears, strangely enough. But now that I finally got these, I'm gonna throw them together, throw this front wheel together so I can get this bike done. Well, I don't know how good it's gonna show up in the video, but one side is laced. 14 more to go. I'm just pumped after 4 tries to finally have what I believe to be the right spokes, I think. So, yeah, we're getting there. Put the other side in and see how it goes. All right, so the Husky project moved into the basement because the weather somewhat broke and my kid's in the garage every day, grabbing his Stasic to ride in the yard or whatever. So we moved to the basement. All that was left was to put the front wheel on once PAX got me the right spokes. In their defense, it wasn't really their fault. They source their spokes from Buchanan's, I think, and yeah, they were sending them wrong stuff. And so yeah, got the right spokes, got that wheel built. So it's got MX34F up front, MX33 in the rear. Actually, I think that might be an MX34. Yeah, MX34 in the rear. I don't know that the 33 is available. But the rear shock's lowered. I think I put a 4mm spacer in the shock. Pro Action did the rear shock for me. And the shock is in the lowest mounting hole. So with the front, with going down to a 10-inch front wheel and moving the forks up 1/2 inch, that gets me even drop from the rear and the front. So I should lose, yeah, about 1.5 inches or so of seat height, which will help because my kid's short. But yeah, we're not, I'm sure somebody's going to say, oh, that's not legal for AMA. We're not racing AMA. We race some CRA stuff, some OMA stuff, and a local series called the TNT. The only reason this bike even came out, or was an option for Easton this year, is because at TNT, they go by the age you are at the first race, which will be 7. So he has to bump up 7 and 8. But everything else we race, he's 6 because they go off AMA age rules. So I have to keep the 10-inch front wheel for 4 to 6 around here. And I wanted the power for TNT for the 7 and 8. So I may keep the Mini just in case anybody complains about this thing in the 54 to 6 classes. I don't think that they will, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, the bike's done for the most part. All the little Nihilo bling is pretty cool. Seat cover, you know, should be pretty good for him. FMF pipe. Yeah, I'm excited. We're about 2-3 weeks away from giving it to him at his birthday. We rented the track, so we'll roll it out then. But that should be the next video on this bike, is him riding it at his birthday. All right, so we're March 22nd, so I still have 2 weeks till Easton's birthday party that we rented the indoor track out, which is still 3 weeks early on his actual birthday, but I just can't wait anymore to give him this bike. It is done for the most part. Still waiting on a Nihilo master cylinder cover for the rear, so it looks something like the front. So it's got all the cool Nihilo billet stuff on it. I went with the guard for the case saver, only because I just have awful visions of his fingers ending up in it when he crashes. Probably not gonna happen, but no, it definitely can't happen. Nihilo heavier radiator cap so it doesn't blow off as quick. The billet water pump impeller from Nihilo. I did go with a 10-inch front wheel. That lowered me an inch in the front, and I moved forks up in the clamps, the other ½ inch, to match the inch difference in the highest shock setting in the rear, and then I had the rear shock rebuilt by Pro Action, and he lowered it a ½ inch. But yeah, new Dunlop MX34s, only because they don't have a 33 anymore. I'm a fan of the 33, that's what's on both of those bikes. But anyway, yeah, guts cover, new FMF. It's pretty much ready to go. The only thing I don't love are the grips, but I don't have to love them, he does. So all his other two bikes have half waffles on them. The ODI micros don't fit. These are the ODI minis. And these are the Pro Taper micros. I'm not putting the micro bars on this bike because it's time. I mean, he's got a big enough hand now at 6 years old, almost 7, that he can handle a 7/8 grip. But you'll see, those kind of remind me more of the Stasic grip, which he's super comfortable on. So we'll see if he likes these ruffians. I'm not a big fan, but I don't have to be. So yeah, crispy, runs good. Here, I'll start it just so we can finish this video. And before somebody flames me, it's already warm. I just had it running. It is cold still. It's in the 30s today. By the time he sees it, it'll probably be high 50s, Pennsylvania. So the humidity's kind of up. But I'm running 95 main, a 50 idle jet, and the clip is on the second position on the needle in the carb. But yeah, 60-to-1 with Motor X and 93 pump. Should be good to go. Thanks for watching.